Welcome, friends. What an awesome guest we have lined up for you today. Dr. Troy Amdahl, aka the OOla Guru and co-author of the best-selling book, OOla, Finding Balance in an Unbalanced World. What superhero do you relate to most? I'm so curious. Why? Each of us has our own innate nuclear power. It's God-given. And yet we're all out here wondering, searching, forgetting, and suppressing. I know I was. It's okay. No judgments here. But I am going to get real. As a life and career coach, it's kind of my job. And you chose the show, so no one is forcing you. But the force is real. And the question I really want to ask is, what's your superpower? I'm Sharon Davenport. I've been called a real-life Wonder Woman. This show is designed to activate you alongside other superheroes. It's time that you arise, put your cape on, and fly. Welcome, friends. What an awesome guest we have lined up for you today. Dr. Troy Amdahl, aka the OOla Guru and co-author of the best-selling book, OOla, Finding Balance in an Unbalanced World. And he's also the founder of the Green Gap, the OOla Green Gap. Dr. Troy is a personal friend, one of my mentors. He's a husband, a father, grandfather, and truly lives out the principles that he talks about. And I know you'll enjoy his passion as he comes and shares with us today. So welcome, Dr. Troy.
So great to be here. By the way, been on a bunch of podcasts. That might be the best intro I've ever heard. Like that was 5 stars. I'm looking for the button to press 5 stars. That was amazing.
Oh, you can come back and like and follow and comment later.
That was impressive. Nice work.
Thanks so much. Well, it's been fun doing this and sharing with our friends listening out there. And so, okay, we're going to dive right in here. The first question I love to ask all of our guests is, who is your favorite superhero and why?
Like a superhero. That's a great question. I would have to say Iron Man. If you're talking about like true like Marvel or DC superheroes, Iron Man, just because I don't know, he's a cool guy. That's it. I have real superheroes in life that I'm kind of more a fan of.
Yep. Okay.
Just mentors, people that I go through seasons of superheroes where I am in life, where I just attach to people going through things and they kind of pull me through to the next level. That's kind of more of the superhero vibe I go for.
I love it. It's funny, knowing you and you talking about Iron Man, Tony Stark, and just kind of I can see some semblances there.
He has cool cars, he has cool gadgets, and yeah, he's kind of quirky.
Yeah. There's a smart, intelligent, I love it. So, but yeah, you just hit on something I'd love to expand on a little bit more. You said that you have different superheroes of life that help get you through different seasons and times. So I'm curious, in your season that you're in right now, who would one of those people be, if you don't mind?
Well, I was just thinking about that when you asked the question. That's why I paused for a moment, because it was a great question. That I think of a superhero as someone who steps in for just a moment to help someone through a tough spot, right? A challenge, like in a movie, like the big things come in and they pick up the car because it's going to land on them and they save them and then they can continue on with life. And right now, a couple of people that I'm really interested in and been mentoring with, there are 2 actually. And I think you know them both. One is James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy, just because his level of discipline and his level of I don't know. It expands it's just next level of what's possible. And then the other one really at the season I'm in is Joshua Becker, who's from Becoming Minimalist. He's really challenging me to be intentional with materialism. And at this stage in my life where I spent a lot of my life accumulating wealth and things that it's like, okay, some of that's cool and some of that's fine, but what do I really need, and what really adds value and joy to my life, and what the rest of it's just distractions from things that matter. So those are the 2 people that I'm leaning into right now as I continue to evolve and grow as a human.
I love that. And actually, we might come circle back around that a little bit later here. And so I love you sharing that. And those, I know both of them, and not personally, but I actually have met the Iron Cowboy, and it's super impressive in person and, in watching him as well. So maybe I can get him on the show later.
Yeah, he's a
But
great interview, by the way.
love that,
Yeah.
love that. So we'll work on that. But so, okay, next question I have for you is, what would you say your superpower is, and how do you use it in your day to day?
If I had to think about, I have a lot of things wrong with me, right? Like everyone, like we're all broken. But as far as a skill set that's moved me forward, I would say I have a stubborn discipline. That if I tell myself that I'm going to do something, commit to something, it's going to happen. And I don't know where that came from, but I'm actually incredibly grateful for it. I'm sure if you ask my wife or my kids, sometimes it could be annoying. But if I make a commitment and I'm going to do something, whether you call it a stubborn discipline or integrity with myself, like if I make a commitment, I'm going to follow through, and that served me very well.
I love it. I love it. So kind of on that same note with you've accomplished a lot in life, and, our friends listening, they may not know you at all. They may not know what OOla is or anything about it. So I'd love for you to personally share. You're the OOla guru, but I'd love for you to personally share some of your personal accomplishments in life, in business. And like, listen, we don't want you to be modest here. I want you to actually share some of the things that you have done so that we can get to know the real Dr. Troy and the place that you're coming from. You're one of the most modest people that I personally know. But people, I want them to hear what you've accomplished, so then we can get into some other pieces.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard thing to talk about, honestly. But so when we talked about OOla before OOla was a thing, I always looked at life as 7 key areas. Before OOla became a book and an event and whatever, I always looked at my life that if I was going to be successful in life, I wanted to be successful in not just money and career, which society tells us that's success. I wanted to be a good dad. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to be on a faith journey to challenge myself. So there were these 7 areas in life. And if I talk about a stubborn discipline, when I set goals way back in the day, in the categories of fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, and fun, I would look at fitness at a time in my life when I was in my 30s, and I don't know what the correct word is, chubby. Let's go husky. Let's go something.
Yeah.
I was unfit, and I couldn't. I had 3 kids, and I couldn't even jog.
Wow.
So I said, that stubborn discipline, I said, I'm going to run to the mailbox and get the mail every day. And then I'm going to run to the next light, and I'm going to run around the corner. And I use that stubbornness to not being able to run to the mailbox in the spring, to completing the Chicago Marathon in the fall, to ultimately completing an Ironman. That's the stubborn discipline and I use that exact same stubborn discipline financially from being $755,000 in debt to retiring completely debt-free and living off passive income at 42.
Yes.
Because I got a healthy level of disgust. This is kind of what it is like I get to a point in an area where my health was a healthy level of disgust, and I changed it with stubborn discipline and action. My finances drove me crazy. A stress of being $755,000 in debt. This was a long time ago. The equivalent today of probably $2 million in debt.
Right.
And I just like a diesel truck up a mountain. Until I was debt free and I could retire off the passive income. And I could go category by category. Fun. I love travel. All of a sudden I said, I'm going to travel 50 countries and counting with my kids. Like we just saw the world. Businesses. I've started a bunch of businesses, sold a bunch of businesses. I've been, the funny thing is though, and I want your listeners to know this, there's 2 authors in the book. It's me and a good buddy, Dave Braun. Yeah. And, you use the term OOla guru. When we wrote the first book, that was tongue in cheek. Totally. It was just like almost an inside joke. Like basically all we did is took the highlights of my life, in the 7 areas. We took the very question you're asking me, like, what have you done in the category of finance and in fun and in business and faith and all this? And we picked the highlights. And, my buddy Dave then pick the low spots.
Right.
And the reality is all of us could rewrite the book and be either person. I could go, thank goodness I didn't have to, but I could go and share all of my failures and all of my missteps in every category as well. And Dave could share his successes. Right. So I think all of us have wins. All of us have guru seasons, and all of us have what we call seeker seasons. And yeah, I've been really lucky. I've been blessed, but I also know I work for it. But I'm also continuing to evolve because I put so much emphasis on the financial and business successes of things. And I did on my relationships too. So if you talk, it's not like when I was doing this OOla thing, even when I was working full time, I would take summers off. Now, could have I made more money? Could have, absolutely. But I knew that time with my young kids I'm never getting that back. Right. So my kids do not know a summer not at the lake because my wife always said, if you spend a summer in northern Minnesota away from distractions with your kids, you're going to know your kids. So it's really consciously living. We say in OOla that society is living the world, like living life by default. And really what OOla is living life by design, like looking at you, who you are as an individual, the goals and interests that are unique to you, and drafting a blueprint for your life in the 7 key areas. Think of it like 7 pillars or 7 foundational cornerstones that you can build a life on. Like just have a clear vision of what you want and then take small steps toward them. That's where I think people stop, is like when I couldn't run to the mailbox, it's like run to the mailbox. I can do that. I can't even fathom a marathon at this point. Right. But I can maybe make it to the mailbox, you know, and I think that makes these things, that makes the big dreams possible.
100%. And I love, you know, how you've lived that life by design. I love that you guys can hear more of his story and Dr. Dave's story in the book, OOla, Finding Balance in an Unbalanced World. You go pick it up. It's in all the major bookstores. It's online, Amazon, and you guys can definitely, or you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to help get you a copy too as well. But I love this. And you guys, he's dropped so many amazing nuggets in there. Consciously living was another big piece. And, you know, to see success in the areas, it's like taking that one step. I mean, to the mailbox. I mean, now I do seem to remember that mailbox was a little further away than typical mailboxes.
It's in the country. It's up on a lake. But honestly, I think it's about 0.2 of a mile though. And it is, I was probably 30. And, you know, you just get in that habit, right? I remember picking a lane, like I'm at 30, I'm going to go one way with my health or another. I'm going to say, you know, life is short. I'm going to just do what I want to do, or I'm going to make a commitment to my health. And, you know, that goes into the whole, you know, why, you know, because I wanted to participate with my kids. I didn't want to just be on a chair watching my kids live life. I want to be in it with them. You know, and so it's such an interesting thing. And I think what I've done my whole life is spend as much time just thinking about life and planning about life and executing about life, rather than just waking up and doing life and going to bed and waking up and doing life again without any effort of like which direction. It's almost like if you got in your car and you just start driving, you start picking roads, you know, because it's downhill and you don't know where you're going to end up. You just could, but if you wake up and go, no, I'm going there, even though I have to go on that dirt road and over that hill and it's going to be a little, I'm going there. And it's as simple as that. But most of the people I talk to, you know, we talk to people all the time about their dreams and their goals. And it would surprise you how many people have lost sight of any goal or dream they have for their life. They're just they're the white knuckling it, holding on, you know, hoping for a superhero to come in and save their life. Right. So to use your podcast as an analogy, it's like no one's coming with a cape to save your life. You're the one with a cape. You are the one who has to put on the cape and do the work. And that is the rub that a lot of people don't understand, that they're waiting for some outside in fix when the fix is right inside themselves already.
I love it. I love it. And, you know, that's what we're doing here is I love highlighting people like you that are living their daily lives as superhero and living out the plan that they were designed to live out. And, you know, what's the saying, you know, failing to plan is planning to fail. Right.
Absolutely.
So, and you are a testimony to, you know, that I loved how you said that stubborn discipline, and that you are literally making strides, and you have made strides, and then you're turning around and sharing about it, because I know your heart as well, and it's been a joy and an honor to get to know your heart and see the man behind the guy that some people might see on stage. But and so it's been a beautiful process to watch that too. And so, getting to know you on a different level than some people as one of my mentors. And, you're brilliant. You're super sharp when it comes to finances. You've had incredible successes. You've turned your failures into successes. But I'm curious to hear from you. What or who would you attribute to your many successes?
I would probably say my older brother. So a lot of people go to their dad, but my dad worked 2 and 3 jobs just to provide for 4 kids. So I didn't see a lot of my dad. So my brother's 8 years older than me. So he was tasked to raise me a lot of times, like to teach me how to do things. And he and I to this day are best friends. So we have houses 2 miles apart in Arizona, and we have cabins on the same lake in Minnesota. And we run together almost every day we're together. And we're just, he was just that person who, that's unconditionally loving and supportive of all of my crazy ideas. Because if you're going to do some crazy things like I've done, you're going to have some crazy, I picked up my 3 little kids, had a successful business doing crazy volume of business, and moved to the Middle East for 2 years just on a whim, and it was awesome. So it's just nice to have someone in your corner who just kind of goes, yeah, I believe in you and it's possible. And when you say, when you compliment, say, okay, you're successful, you're brilliant or whatever, it's just not, that part I don't think is true. I think the stubbornness, this is where I want listeners to get this, that I think it's so easy to look at other people and see an advantage. And I understand I have advantages, and I get that, I get that it's not a completely level playing field, but I think people, because of that, short sell their own abilities, and they look at something big and they don't even see it's possible in their own life. And that's sad. And you don't have, again, using the marathon as an example, you don't have to run a marathon. You don't have to get a medal tomorrow, but maybe could you walk around the block? Maybe could you just do something more than you did today? And if you just think of it that way, of doing more than you did today and towards something that's really deeply meaningful to you, that's how you become brilliant. That's how you get results. That's how you make transformations, is just more than you did today towards something that's deeply meaningful.
Love it. Absolutely. And just take that first step. And I love how OOla has that whole process as well. It's a foundational system to help people to take that first step, to start to see those results by little, that, because every step adds up to bigger things, right? So I love it. I love it. So, with all that you have experienced in life, the highs, the lows, I'm just curious, you've had a lot of adventures, but what have you personally found to be like one of your greatest joys in life?
Well, again, I'm evolving, like we're all evolving as humans. So I was in kind of an accomplishment season where I think travel was a big part of my life, where it's like experiencing culture, experiencing people, getting to know them through food and conversation and just experiences. I still love that. I still deeply do. But I think I've learned that I just love the experience of evolving as a human. I love the experience of always being a humble student of how I can do life better. And not in a way that I feel bad about myself, in a way that keeps life exciting and keeps life passionate. So for me, it's not like one thing. If I had to pick one thing, I love travel. I love experiences. I love, of course, family and sharing that with people I love. But I think this curiosity of always being curious and questioning, and a lot of people get really stubborn in their ways, like they just lock into a lane, and they're not even open to, like, could life be different, and could different be better? And I'm just the opposite. I'm like, I always think life could be different, and it's possible it could be better, even when it's great. Like, could I do something or change something to make this, we're here for such a short time. How could I make this experience more rich? Like, lean into it even more to have more of an experience on the planet. And that's really what I've like done a lot of things, and I've ruled out a lot of things I don't like. But I have what you do in that process is you figure out kind of what you authentically like. So that ongoing curiosity for how I could be a better husband, how I can be a better father, how I can run a better business, how I can have more fun, how I could lean into my faith. I mean, looking at the 7 key areas, the 7 pillars, the 7 things of OOla, and just saying, okay, how can I do it better? And that's really fun for me, because I'm accomplishment driven. All those people who are like type A'ers out there that like, hey, like, is there a way that I could, is there, a concert I could go to? Is there a restaurant I could try? Is there a park I could hike? Is there something I could do to just add more richness to my day?
It's so fun because you truly are living life to its fullest, and it's such a fun joy to watch and to hear your stories. And I've only heard like a fraction of everything that you've accomplished, but it's very obvious that you have that curiosity spirit, and we're always supposed to stay curious, obviously. But yeah, so I'm curious, just for fun, side note here, you love food and you love travel. I could ask you about your favorite place you've ever traveled to, and I know that'd probably be hard, but what was the craziest, wildest thing you've ever eaten just for fun?
Oh my gosh. I try about everything. So, Asia's really bizarre for food. So I've eaten some things in Asia that I don't even know what it was, but it was still moving. And it looked like it looked not like a fish and not like a bug, but something between a fish and a bug. I eventually, there's a good thing about being curious, and there's also wisdom. I eventually had to ratchet down, because after getting sick, multiple times in foreign countries, but I'm a guy who loves a food truck, a lot. In Asia, they're not food trucks. They're guys on scooters that have a little grill on the back of their scooter, and they go by and it smells amazing. Like, I don't even know what it is, but I'm like, I'll take some of that, whatever that is. But I've been punished a few times too by just, but it's, I don't know. I'm curious. Again, that is my nature. My wife like laughs at me because she's the opposite. Like, it has to be, inspected by the USDA and have an expiration date. And if it's 5 minutes after the expiration date, she'll throw it away. But it is, Asia, Thailand is my favorite place, by the way. So of 50 some countries, Thailand is my favorite place.
Oh, very fun. Well, it's on my bucket list too. So I can't wait to visit as well. And love it. Well, kind of speaking of, the accomplishments, the different things that you have done, but, not focusing on that, obviously. You recently sold your house, most of your belongings. And I know, so I want to get into that just a little bit. And I know that you said right now, Joshua Becker is somebody that you have really kind of learned from, and he's one of the people who's influencing your life at this time. But I'd love to hear a little bit more about how that's impacted you, your family, kind of the decision behind it, and so on. So please share.
Yeah, it's weird. So this is an evolution of me, which you obviously know me better than most people do, because this isn't really public stuff. But there's a story, and I don't know if it's true or not. I think it is, about a guy and another guy. They were invited out to the Hamptons to go to a party, and the old guy is a super famous author, like super famous author, like a household name author, done really well in a 30-year writing career. Was brought to this party by a friend, and they go to the Hamptons, a mega mansion. The guy with the mansion, late 20s, and the house is ridiculous. And the guys at the party, the young guy who brought the author, kind of points to the owner of the house and go, "Look at that guy. He's 28, and look at his place, man. And you've been writing for 30 years, and look, I know your house. Look at this house." And the wise old author kind of looks at his buddy and goes, "You know what I have that he'll never have?" And the guy looks at him and goes, "I have what?" And he goes, "Enough. I have enough."
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of where I am.
Yeah.
In a year financially that I've done better than I've ever done.
Mm,
I went from a 8-car garage to a 2-car garage.
mm,
I went to a house that's 40% the size of the house square footage that I was in.
wow.
And I got rid of 80% of my material stuff in the closets and in the drawers.
Mhm.
I'm down to 77 articles of clothing. Um, I have enough. And once I realized I had enough, uh, I felt rich, not in a net worth level. I felt it just took all of and I'm still like someone writes me a check, I'm going to cash it. It's not like I'm a monk in the woods, like living off dirt. I mean, I'm still a businessman. I still run a business. I still do all that. But there truly is. Joshua Becker has a book called The More of Less. There truly is more in less. But I wouldn't call myself a minimalist at all. That would be laughable because if people saw the lifestyle that I'm definitely not a minimalist, but I would call myself right at this point in my life where I am today, an intentionalist, meaning that I have no problem on nice material things that have some sort of meaning to me. They're joy, they have a purpose, whatever. But I definitely had excess. And trimming that excess has been freeing, like freeing. So I am right in the heat of this. I mean, you could interview me 5 years from now and I buy a big house in the Hamptons. I don't know who I'll be 5 years from now, but that is where I am right now. But like Dave said, man, when I make a turn, I make a turn. Like I'm not afraid to. It's kind of like I picked my family up when we moved to the Middle East. But when I feel it and I go with gut, I go with heart, and I was feeling this, and it was feeling too much, and it was feeling like too much focus on and it was sending the wrong message, I think, to people that
Yeah.
yes, I mean, I've read all the studies on money and happiness, and there is a point. Money does provide a certain level of joy at certain income levels, and I know all that. But for me, I knew I was in the right spot, or talk about being in the right lane right now. I would get way more joy bringing a truckload of stuff to donate than bringing a new package in my house. Like I would
Yeah.
see a package from Amazon and my eyes would roll. But when I would drop stuff off, I'd feel like, man, this feels amazing. Like someone can use this. That's just sitting in a closet. So yeah, that is OOla, by the way. That is what we teach, is just constantly looking at the way you're living. And someone at a different stage, if you'd asked me when I'm 25, I was in an accumulation phase, which I needed to be. I had 4 kids and we needed a bigger house, and I wanted a bigger house, but we're evolving creatures. And at this stage in my life, with the kids moving out of the house, I didn't need all that stuff. But it was a radical transformation. And I'm in the midst of it right now.
I love it. And just a little bit that I've seen so far, it's been incredible to hear about, incredible to watch. So, and I love I summed up a little bit of what you were saying, and realize that when you realize you have enough, and you'll be rich. You'll be rich. So realize you have enough and you'll be rich. I might quote that later, just saying.
You can take it. You can put your name on it. You can own it.
No, I'll put your name on it. I can do that. So as we're starting to wrap up here, I'd love for you to share like one more thing with your friends. What takeaway would you leave for our listeners today of something they could do, or something they should think about, a takeaway?
I think a belief in yourself, in that everyone has challenges. Very few people share those challenges publicly. So it looks like the rest of the world is winning and you're not. But you are. And you are designed by God for greatness and a purpose, for sure. I believe that in my heart. I believe that there's something inside of you that is just curious to be shared with the world. And I would just challenge you to be brave enough to take action toward that every day.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Troy. It's been such an honor to have you on here. I know you got up really early to do this, and because you're out on the West Coast there. And so for those of you listening, if you want to know more about OOla and how to find balance in your own life, feel free to reach out to me directly. I've had the privilege of working with Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy for the past couple of years, and I'm here to help you on your journey as well. And guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Troy, again, thank you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate all you do. I mean, this is a community effort, and anyone throwing positivity and kindness in the world, like, I'm a fan.
Love it. Love it. So, all right, guys, again, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back with our next amazing modern superhero in about 2 weeks. Until then, use your superpower to help change somebody's life for the better today. Bye for now.